Doing today? Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Welcome to another edition of me eating brains. Gotta love them brains, man. Gotta love them brains. Had another insane dream last night after eating brains for dinner. Happens every single night now. It's really weird. But yeah, just really weird stuff. Like, I know everybody hates hearing about people's dreams, but it was like this semi-trailer, and this little like stray cat ran into the semi-trailer in my dream. And then it started getting stung by all these wasps. It was crazy. And so I felt bad for the cat, and then like my dog or somebody caught these wasps, and they were catching these gigantic wasps like about this big, and they were like this thick. It was like the craziest part of my dream. But yeah, my dreams are really weird. Like, why would I dream about like wasps, gigantic wasps, and like I'm telling you, man, you gotta try these brains if you've never had them. It will make you dream like crazy. But today I got pretty much the same as yesterday, minus the tater, because I don't really crave taters all the time, so it's not a part of my everyday diet. But I got some 3 weeks dry aged grass-fed beef, and then I got 3 eggs, raw butter, goat eyeball, half a goat brain. It's on the menu today. What's going on? What's up, Meep Meep and Girish and Chris Parks? What's up? What's up, Eat Raw Meat? Yeah, I got some sun today for sure. Have I tried raw goat? No, I have not. I've heard it's pretty good though. I hear the Muslims like raw goat. They love that stuff. That's why they really like my local live meat market, because you can go down there and get it butchered however you want and take the head home and take the blood home and the balls and all that stuff. Yeah, the brains are insane with dreams, man. Like, I'm probably going to do a whole separate video on just eating raw brains and dream enhancement, because it works every single time. It's the weirdest thing, man. Really cool, though. Just dreaming all night long, and really, like, really colorful and detailed and really imaginative type dreams. You know what I mean? Just like stuff that you had when you were like a little kid. It's weird. I'm hoping what it's doing is it's like rebuilding my brain, because you're eating brain. They say eat the organ of the one you want to heal, you know? So I'm hoping that eating brain is going to heal my brain, because everybody knows as we go through life, we get a little brain damage from just everything, you know? All the shitty food we eat and all the grain brain. I would love to research that, though. What's causing the brains to give you enhanced dreams, you know? What's up, Martin O'Donnell? Fish brains and fish eyes. Sounds good. What's up, Meat Man? Glad you like the streams, man. Try to keep them semi-interesting for just kind of going on the fly. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much preparation into these streams. I try to keep them pretty raw, no pun intended, and just kind of eating my food and following the chat, seeing what's going on in there. I could probably in the future, prepare a little bit better and get some stuff going for the live streams, which I might, you know what I mean? But for now, I think building up a nice community is the way to go. Because I think for the most part, people just want just to talk to people about different things, maybe ask some questions about the raw diet and stuff like that, which is kind of what it's for. People new to the diet, people, trying to get into eating raw meat that have questions and stuff. Even though there really shouldn't be that many questions, it's just a matter of, seeing how germ theory isn't really a real thing and raw meat doesn't give you poison, and you just got to get the courage to jump in and start eating it. John Trium says the weird dreams are probably detox. I sure hope so. It could be. That's an interesting theory. And it feels like it's something like that, because it feels like I do come out of those dreams with my brain working a little bit better, Is it the brain or the fat itself for dreams? I think it's the brain, dude, because I don't get this type of stuff from eating any other kind of animal fat or cholesterol. I don't get it from eggs or dairy or anything. It's only brains that enhance my dreams. And I may not have ever made the connection unless someone else mentioned it on my live stream one time, which is why I love doing live streams and talking to the internet, because I learned so much stuff on there. But I basically learned that through a live stream and then paying attention to my own dreams. And I was like, I'll be damned if it's not true. Like, my dreams are insane on brains. What I think it is this is just my theory, but what I think it is like possibly you're eating neurotransmitters and stuff like that. And possibly like DMT in the brain itself is going into your system. So that's what it feels like, because the dreams that I have are like very colorful and detailed and very imaginative. So it feels like it's some kind of extra neurotransmitter or something in your brain. What's up, Jonathan Permise? Yeah, it's nice day out here too, man. It's a good day to get outside and get some sun. Kenyon says, should we follow our intuition without questioning it? Once you get your body and your spirit to a healthy place in life, and you've moved past all of your life trauma, and you've healed your body to a point to where you're about 95 to 99% healed, then yes, follow your intuition without questioning it. But until then, you might want to listen to other people and just maybe gain some advice from them and get some direction from them in the meantime, because our intuitions are skewed through life. They're kind of damaged in a way. So they're always there, but they're kind of like covered up, You basically just got to uncover your intuitions by healing your body and your mind and your spirit and going from there, you know what I mean? But you can't just go on a diet and expect your intuitions to come back, because intuition is based on a lot of things. It's based on a lot of spiritual stuff too, because life is mostly spiritual, to be honest with you. Diet is just like a minor part of this whole thing, So, but yeah, after you get to a point to where you're healthy again and at peace in life, then intuition just comes very easily, man. What's up, FYSI? Yeah, salmon is good stuff. I love me some salmon, man. Meep says, I'm always here because I don't work or go to school. Just stay home and eat and sun and socialize with women and be alpha. Sounds like a good life, man. I don't judge you for that. Enjoy life while you can, If you have an opportunity in life where you don't have to work or you don't have to go to school, enjoy it. Axe Bra, what do you do besides raw meat? I don't understand your question specifically. You have to ask more specific there. Zach Fuller, was your beard always that full before eating raw, or did it grow in full after eating raw? Yeah, my beard was pretty gnarly before. I remember I grew it out one time years back, and it was pretty gnarly. So, yeah, I think I'm just a hairy dude. But I think my hair in general looks a lot healthier now. So I think, in my face. You know what I mean? So I think because my face looks so much healthier now than it did before, the beard looks better, if that makes sense. It's not necessarily the beard. I think the face has a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have like a healthy looking face, if you have like a gaunt looking face with pale skin and stuff like that, your beard's not going to help that at all. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, you got to make sure your whole body's healthy. But for the most part, I don't know if there's a connection between eating raw meat and growing a thicker beard. It's a good question. Maybe slightly better. Slightly better. Slightly thicker hair, possibly. Celery juice with lemon is an extremely nice and hydrating drink for summer. Sounds good, man. John Trim says, I prefer this type of live streams. Cool. I'm glad. It's easy to do, man. I'm eating dinner already, and it's like, you know, it's easy to prepare for something like this. I just gotta turn on the camera. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cool. It's something that I can sustain for a long time, you know what I mean? I'm the type of guy that I'm slow and steady, and I like to build. And, you know, I like to build things that last, you know? So this isn't something that's going to burn me out after a while, like, and it doesn't take up a whole bunch of my time, so it's not like I'm going to be having to miss my live streams all the time because of life. It's like I'm already eating food, so I might as well just turn on the camera and talk. What are your thoughts about dreams? Are even dogs have dreams? They absolutely fascinate me. Yeah, what dreams really are. I don't know, man. We don't know what dreams are. It's very interesting, but I think it might be some kind of spiritual world that you enter somehow. I think your spirit, because it really feels like your spirit goes somewhere else in those dreams, you know? It doesn't feel like it's just some sort of biological brain detox or some sort of just random neurons firing and synapses firing in your brain, you know, some kind of scientific explanation. I really feel like everything can be explained on a spiritual level, and that's why we're missing so many answers to life today, is because we want to explain everything with science. I really think that dreams are you're going somewhere else. So I don't know where that is. I don't know what's going on there, but I think you're probably going somewhere else for a little bit. I got some raw cheese and butter today. I could only get salted. Is that okay? If that's all you can get, that's what you gotta do. What you gotta do, man. Like I ate salted, pasteurized goat butter for a long time on this diet, so I haven't been 100% raw for 2 years. I've been, you know, I've had to eat pasteurized stuff here and there because I couldn't get my hands on any raw butter either. And I wanted to try goat butter, and I freaking love that goat butter, man. Like, I'm almost willing to go back to eating it because it was so good, and it was like the energy was so good on it, you know. But it's unfortunately salted and pasteurized, and I could justify a little bit of salt, but I don't think I could justify pasteurization. Do you get headaches after eating the nut formula? I get a massive headache the day after. No, I don't get headaches, no. Sometimes if I eat it at night, it will make my like throat and tongue a little bit dried out in a way. I don't know what that's all about, but for the most part, I have pretty good experiences on the nut formula. Seems to digest very well. What's up, Anna? How you doing? You should prepare some high brain. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I might do that this week. I got plenty of brain to do it with. Eat raw meat says, well then eating intestines should also give good dreams because of the brain cells there, second brain. Maybe. That would be an interesting experiment. I should have eaten some of the intestines on my first... I've gotten a couple lambs killed and I got the intestines. I should have eaten some of that. but I threw it to my dogs. My dogs strung it all over my yard, so I had like hundreds of feet of intestines all over my yard. It definitely looked like the weird neighbor. What's up, fat of the land? Yeah, intestine smoothies, there you go. Like Derek Nance. Not a bad idea. Throw some blood and some brain in there and some liver and... Meep Meep says, Yo, S water, when I drink it, it would chap my lips up right after. Make sure you're eating enough fats, and make sure you're drinking mineral water for sure. Do you wash the intestines out with mineral water? I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I think you just eat, cut off a little section of it and eat it, Yeah, thank you. Give the stream a thumbs up, everybody, if you can. Well, we got about 30 people here. That would help out. So the normies see it trending, definitely. Yeah. It helps out. I hate for asking for stuff like that, but we gotta try to fall into the algorithm line here a little bit. What's up, Ibrahim? Martin O'Donnell, raw brain for DMT boost sounds plausible. Everyone nowadays has zero intuition, low spirit, Satanist due to grain-based diet and media brainwashing. Yeah, totally. And fluoride, apparently fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. If you believe the pineal gland is a source of... That's the other thing, is when you're eating brain, you're eating pineal gland, guys. I forgot about that one. I thought about that before, too. You're eating the animal's pineal gland. The pineal gland has been known for thousands of years to be the seat of consciousness and spirituality in a way. So maybe not consciousness, or maybe not spirituality, but it's the seat of consciousness in a way. So it's very interesting how raw brain gives you those dreams, because I think it has something to do with the pineal gland. You're eating pineal gland and neurotransmitters. Hair is protein. Yeah, that's a good point. When you're eating a lot of protein, you're going to get thicker hair a little bit. Yeah, I never measured my hair. I think someone mentioned that they said my hair got a little bit more thick since they saw me starting this diet. A couple people have that I know in my personal life have said that I'm completely different. I've changed completely on this diet. Especially since high school when I was a kid, I'm a totally different person. Why do junk food like cakes and chips taste better than raw meat? Because they're scientifically engineered to trigger your reward system in your brain by triggering your salt and sugar centers in your brain. What's up, Nero? Good to see you, man. Let's see. Does anyone know if any UFC fighters eat raw meat? Good question. Danny B says the reality is no one in here is going to be eating an all raw diet 5 years from now. Get over it. I don't know what you mean. I'm eating raw meat in 5 years. Bears fan Carl Jung has amazing insight on dreams. Yeah, my buddy Chicken Jar is a big Carl Jung fan. He's talking about him. John Trim, if I eat anything cooked, it will be muscle meat on a special day. In fact, I hate cooked organs. Yeah, I eat cooked meat every once in a while. My boss makes these ribs, and he spices them up and everything, and they're the best freaking ribs I've ever had in my life. I'm never going to stop eating cooked food if it's offered to me by somebody. If my family has a barbecue or something like that, I'm not going to sit there and eat rotten meat in the corner while everybody's eating barbecue, guys. Like, I ate cooked meat my entire life. Cooked meat is not what made me sick and not what made me feel like a subpar person. It was all the other shit that was cooked. And it was all the vegetables, and it was all of the junk food and sugar and chemicals and pesticides and et cetera, et cetera. Cooked meat is like the least of your problems in your diet. So, but I just cooked, or raw meat is like obviously superior in nutrition. So I figure since it's so expensive, why rip yourself off and why cook all the nutrition out of it and just, and plus I enjoy the digestibility of raw meat. But yeah, I'm like 95% raw. I used to be 100%, but now I'm kind of getting back towards eating a cooked potato every once in a while. And if cooked barbecue is offered to me, you're damn right I'm eating that stuff. What's up, Weston Price? P. Miller, good to see you guys. John Trim, every bodybuilder in the golden era ate raw eggs and possibly raw meat. Yeah, I know. So did Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. Arnold Schwarzenegger won all of his weightlifting competitions drinking raw milk and raw meat and stuff like that. And now he's a shill for vegetables. Like, what a sellout, man. Like, how could you do that? You built your whole career on raw milk and meat, and then now you're pushing veggies on people. Really appreciate you answering my question, man. I'm off. It's late here in London. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I try to answer all the questions I can. I know a lot of people have questions, and I mean, have a little bit more insight than some people on this because I've been studying this diet and eating this diet for like, I don't know, 21 months straight now, which is nothing. It's nothing, guys. Like, imagine what kind of shit I'm going to know in like 5 years, Because I just keep learning more and more and more and more and more. And on top of learning more, my body is healing more faster and rapidly and faster, and it's detoxing things out of it more quickly. So I'm just a healthier person. I'm thinking better. My spirituality and my spirit is in a healthier place. So I'm able to retain information better. It's just everything in this way of eating becomes exponentially better as long as you're taking care of your personal life too. It's a big part of it. You can't just eat raw meat and be like a piece of shit in your life. You know what I mean? Because your life isn't going to get any better. If your spirit gets sick, it will poison your body. Caleb says, I ate whole shrimps yesterday, guts, shell, and all. Felt high afterwards. Wow. Eat raw meat. What animal has the biggest brain? Land-based. It'd be a good thing to look up real quick. What animal has the biggest brain? I think elephants have pretty big brains. Dolphins. I'm pretty sure we have the biggest though, but elephants I think are close. I'm gonna go, I think I've looked this up before. I think it's humans, elephants, and dolphins. Okay, here we go. Adults are 1,400 grams, 3 pounds. Elephants are 4,700 grams and 10 pounds, which is pretty close to the ratio that we have. Yeah, you can kind of see just like the size of it versus the animal, right? Whale's got a pretty damn big brain. Wow. I didn't see that one coming. Sperm whale's got a big brain. That'd be awesome to get some whale brain. I never thought about looking that up. So we are 1,400 to 3 pounds. They're Yeah, I guess it doesn't say the size of the animal, but yeah, it looks like the sperm whale is pretty close to our ratio there, you know? Dolphin's pretty close. Yeah, it looks like elephant, humans, dolphins, and whales. Makes sense that humans have the biggest brains. We are, you know, the smartest. High pineal gland, yeah, no shit. That's basically what high brain is, high pineal. Fluoride is really nasty, causes bone cancer and brain tumors, among other things. Christianity is not soulless. The religion, the original concept of Christianity, I think, was it was definitely spiritual. But modern religion today, I would say, is pretty close. But you got to distinguish between the religion and the actual idea of Christianity. The man-made religion is definitely not in good shape. High oysters are repulsive. Interesting. Yeah, I can't imagine fermenting oysters. H the Human. Hey Wes, hey folks, looking at that dry aged beef, the black bits remind me of asking the butcher for steak for tartare, and he brought out black bits. It was the best tartare ever. Nice. Yeah, cooked meat is good too, man. I mean, Wes, you gotta try whole shrimps with the guts and the head shell on. Yeah, maybe. I always liked eating a little shrimp. John Trim, I would just eat roadkill or pigeons if meat is banned. Oh yeah. Roadkill, fish. I live basically in deer country, and Interstate 80 runs through my entire state from left to right. So I could just live off the interstate. I mean, I drive Interstate 80 and I find deer all the time on there. People just leave them, man. You don't know how many times I've driven by a deer on the interstate and thought about picking it up and just throwing it in the back of my car. But I'm not sure what I would do with it. I'm not sure. I don't know how old it is, how soon it was hit, you know, or how old it was since it died or whatever. So I don't know what shape the meat's in and stuff like that. So it would be kind of a mess. P. Miller says cooked meat always sounds good, but that's only because you cover it in sauces and stuff. It's dry and disappointing plain. That's true. But it's almost like a drug. If you get some good seasoned ribs, cooked ribs, it's almost like a drug. You can't stop eating it. Jeff says, when you become governor of California, you are entirely controlled. That's right, man. Hey, thanks for the super chat yesterday, Jeff. That was very generous. I appreciate that. By the way, I'll put my PayPal out there. If anybody wants to send like a super chat or something, just send it to my PayPal. And if you have a question, I'll read it on the live stream if you put it on the PayPal. So Volkashir says Arnold did an interview about how eating meat is bad, but he then proceeds to cook a steak during the interview. I know, man. It's ridiculous. That guy's pretty messed up. Anybody that's been that indoctrinated into acting and stuff, you know he's just incorrect about so many things. What do I mean by spiritual? Well, spiritual means like of the spirit. So anything that has to do with of the spirit. I believe we are spirits. I believe our bodies are just illusions. The physical world is all an illusion. We're actually living in a spiritual world that you can't see. And everything physical has been... it's an illusion, basically. So, but spiritual, I just mean anything of the spirit. August Online says, "Hey Wes, don't avoid the question. Your understanding of Jesus and Bible is opposite of what Jesus and Bible teaches. You are more like a Gnostic than a Christian. Pray for understanding. Prayer works." Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Trust me, man. I've been down the whole Christian Gnostic thing. You know, there is such thing as a Gnostic Christian, man. You know what I mean? You got to look into this stuff a little bit before you make hard assumptions on what's going on. But the short end of it, man, is I don't follow the Bible. I follow the truth written in my heart by God, which is what the Bible was inspired by, right? You understand the Bible wasn't written by God, right? It was written by men that were inspired by God, right? Well, I just skip the Bible and I tap into the source of what inspired the Bible, which is the truth in my heart, right? And so I have a straight connection with God. I don't need any priests. I don't need any churches. It's the same way that the Native Americans all connected to God. You know what I mean? The Native Americans never heard of Jesus. They never heard of the Bible. And anybody that's born on like a remote island and has never had contact with the outside world, they've never heard of Jesus. They've never heard of the Bible. And they have relationships with God. So you don't need Christianity to have a connection with God. It's absurd, man. And to say that Christianity is the only correct religion is equally absurd. So you got to understand that, and you got to be basically not afraid to question something like a man-made institution like Christianity. I was afraid my whole life to question it because it was so indoctrinated into me from a young child. And then I started waking up and I started studying Gnosticism and understanding the history behind Gnostics and Christians. And basically, man, the pattern that's going on is that the idea of Christianity that was pushed out into the world by Jesus, assuming he was a real man, it was taken and it was abused by the elites and the people in the power positions, and they turned it into a churchianity is a good way to put it. And so what we have today is churchianity. It's not Christianity. There's nothing in the Bible that said we should have been starting churches and priests and dressing up in robes and looking like wizards and taking everybody's money. And so that's kind of all some BS, to be honest with you. And you have to look at the original, what Jesus was originally trying to say to people, right? And just because I claim that my views align more with a Gnostic has nothing to do with my respect for Jesus and his teachings, and I believe they're all correct and true, and they're all profound, and I don't disagree with anything that he said, but I disagree with what modern man has done with religion towards Christianity. I disagree with that. And if you gotta, the Bible is a material thing. It's not a spiritual thing, man. It's a material book made by human beings. So you just got to kind of, use your intuitions, I guess. You know what I mean? And just feel what's right. You know what I mean? It took me a long time in life to come to these realizations, man. Like, it took me all the way into my 30s. So I wouldn't expect, I know you're a younger dude, I wouldn't expect someone young to understand exactly what I'm talking about. I've also had some very unique, profound spiritual experiences in my life that have pointed me towards this. And so, yeah, I believe my connection with God is real and it's true and it's healthy, and it has helped me immensely through life, you know. And my connection with God has helped me actually see through religion. So believe it or not, the closer you get to God, the further you get away from religion. And I recommend you read a couple different books about Native Americans, because that will actually show you a more correct perspective on God, and how Christianity was trying to basically ruin the Native Americans' connection with God, which had nothing to do with Christianity or Jesus. And they had actually a more profound connection with God than most Christians today. So one is called The Gospel of the Red Man. It's the Indian Bible. And then I can't remember the title of the other one. I'll have to get it later. But Start with that one, and it will blow your mind, man. It will blow your mind. Bakken says, I heavily dislike eggs. Should I still eat them? They're kind of hard to choke down. I had to choke them down for a long time, so they're good for you. I would say just kind of stick through it until you get used to it. I had to do that with eggs and liver. Takes a while. Rebecca says, thoughts on pickled herring. Does AB talk about it at all? I don't know. You can always give it a shot and see if it works for you, you know? Fat to Land says, Derek Nance sometimes eats roadkill. I love that idea. I'll get some roadkill on the stream one time, guys. Get a skunk with some tire tracks running through it. Yeah, salt's a tough one, man. Rebecca says, I heard all fresh water is polluted, so it is unsafe to eat fish from the water. Is there any way we could ever fix this? I don't know, man. I just heard Joel Salatin talking on the Joe Rogan podcast, which you guys should all check that out, man. I'll link it for you. Even though Joe Rogan's a butt pumper, I'll promote this one podcast of his. This podcast here, guys, it's a good one, man. Really, really, really good. But he talks about how all of the farm runoff and chemicals that run down the Mississippi into the Gulf, there's no more shrimp down there now because of all the pollution down there. So I don't think there's a way to fix it besides stop using so many chemicals, you know? Christopher says, tried goat milk, much better for my digestion. I hear that universally, man. Can't wait to try it again. Ibrahim says, this is true. God never wrote any books. Exactly. Eat raw meat. God doesn't speak in language. That's why he can't write books. Exactly. God speaks in revelation, guys. He speaks in silent revelation. But you have to be, most likely you have to be alone and you have to be quiet. That's when God starts speaking to you through revelations. It's not in a voice. Ibrahim says, how about Godginess? That's a funny word, but he's definitely a smart guy. Definitely wasn't God, but I think there was definitely a lot of times where God was speaking through Augenes and God was walking with Augenes for sure. Because Augenes was a warrior, man, you know? And to be that kind of warrior and speak that kind of truth and fight the powers that be, you got to have God with you, man. Anonymous Vegan, hey man, I follow a raw carnivore diet and I still having digestive problems from a vegan diet. Do you know how to heal it? I think Augenes said some people, if you can't digest raw meat, just eat maybe just eat like a little bit per day. You know what I mean? And I don't know, what all can't you digest? I mean, can you at least do a little bit of dairy? I don't know. Honestly, man, the worst problems that I hear from people all over the place is prior vegans. And I don't know exactly quite how to help someone that has such a damaged gut from eating a vegan diet for that long. You just got to be patient, man. Like, you're going to have to suffer through it for a while. And if you have to do a lot of like green juices and eggs, raw eggs should be pretty easy to digest. Try just a little bit of meat at a time, maybe like 4 ounces a day or something, and maybe try to supplement with dairy, you know? Just try to find something that works for you. Caleb says, "How's the dating life, Wes?" It's going well, man. Definitely. I am doing well in that department. Let's put it that way. This channel's helped out a lot too. What's up, Brandon Johnson? Is that you or is that Easy E on your picture? Can't tell. You got a new picture like every day. Zach Fuller says, I had a friend who was a hardcore Christian. He was nuts. I think it had to do with all the plants and grains he ate. Well, that's part of it, but there's a lot of nutty Christians out there, man, to be honest with you. There's a lot of nutty people, period. I don't want to just say it's nutty Christians, but there's a lot of Christians that are under like a false assumption of what they should be doing. I don't believe we're supposed to be proselytizing our relationship with God to other people and pushing it on other people. The Native Americans didn't do that. Like, I'm really intrigued, and I respect the Native Americans' relationship with God because it resonates with my relationship with God right now. It's not something that I've developed from the Native Americans. It's something that I can relate to the Native Americans in many ways because I don't go to church and I don't read the Bible or anything like that, but I have a strong connection with God right now. There's no doubt he's making a presence in my life. He's just changed my life insanely over the last 2-3 years. And it has nothing to do with anything that I'm doing. I feel like I have had no hand in it, no part in it. I feel like I'm just kind of watching it happen in a way. But, yeah. Religions are something to be very skeptical of, man. What's up, Chicken Jar? Good to see you, man. Rebecca, there were fairy tales or myths older than the Bible that presented forbidden knowledge as something to go after. Then Christianity brought Adam and Eve that taught people to stay away from it. Yeah, I know. It's very interesting. And I've always thought that the Adam and Eve story had to do something with like psychedelic drugs. Because there's some evidence that some of the Gnostics were using mushrooms and sacraments and stuff like that to achieve these mystical experiences with God and things like that. And so it just makes sense to me that the Adam and Eve story was made up by the church in order to get people to be afraid of using any sort of sacrament from God to achieve a mystical experience and enhance their connection with God. Because it's like, come on. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, like, come on. Anybody that's had a mind-blowing experience with mushrooms or anything like that knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because when you come out of those experiences, you have a super enhanced understanding of good and evil that you never had before. And it's just, I don't think it's a coincidence, man. Like, the church was really trying to hide these sacraments that people used, that certain people used to enhance their consciousness and have enlightened experiences and achieve enlightenment, basically. And there's a lot of evidence that like the priests were using it and things like that. And it just amazes me that even saying something like this is controversial today, because we're talking about mushrooms. Like, these are God-given things that just grow out of the ground, guys. And so we're so removed from nature that we're shamed and mocked for even talking about something as simple as a mushroom. So you got to think about that. I believe mushrooms are one of the most misunderstood natural things on the planet, besides raw meats. Raw meat and mushrooms are the two most misunderstood and misconstrued things that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Of what people say about it in mainstream compared to what it actually is. Just online. Skipping the Bible and tapping to the source doesn't work if you claim the opposite of what it says. Mainstream Christianity is of Satan, of course. Yeah, I agree, but I don't claim the opposite of what the Bible says as far as like the main teachings of forgiveness and dropping your pride and dropping your ego and things like that. Like I think those are all like very good things to put into your life. But the key, man, like this is like something that you can use for every aspect of your life, not just religion, man. The key, like you can look at We Want to Live as like a Bible as well, right? This is a nice analogy, right? You want to read We Want to Live, you want to listen to Augenes's lectures, gather yourself a general understanding of what a healthy diet is, and then go from there and follow your intuitions after you heal your body, right? That's the whole point. The point is you're not supposed to carry the We Want to Live book around you every single day and have to flip through every page and look for different recipes and like have to rely on it every day of your life. It's the same thing with the Bible, man. The Bible is something that is useful to, I've read it. I've read a lot of the Bible, but it's something that you're supposed to use as a reference to gain your own understanding of what is right and wrong. And then you basically you start developing your own, you start learning how to tap into your own internal compass, which is what inspired the Bible. So it's not something that you want to rely on for your religion, man. I'm telling you, the Bible is it's a very profound piece of work, and there's many things in it that are very useful and you can apply to your life, and some of the analogies and metaphors and stories are just beautiful, man. It's beautiful stuff. But it's not supposed to be the foundation of your relationship with God. Is carbonated water worse than natural sparkling water because it seems to upset my gut? Naturally sparkling, I don't know, artificial carbonation, probably a little bit worse. I don't really know much about that, but if it upsets your gut, then don't drink it. Caleb says natives talk about the flood just like the Bible. Yeah, true. Modern Christianity is grabbled for sure. Let's see. Chicken Jar says God speaks in 20 grams of fungus. Christopher West, do you meditate? I think meditation and prayer are very similar. I like to do silent prayers and meditations, I guess you could say. It's more like a silent prayer, I just like to be very quiet and still and just kind of let God reveal himself to me. So in that sense, yes. I have a very specific ritual that I go through a couple times a year. And I guess you could call that a meditation. And then throughout the day, sometimes, like I will do very, very short meditations if I feel like I need to gain some clarity on something, like I'm confused on something or I can't make up my mind on something. I will push all my thoughts out and I will stop listening to my thoughts for a while, and I will just sit down in the silence in my mind and wait for God to just reveal things to me. So yeah, I like to do that. Israth, how old is that meat? It's 3 weeks dry age about. Augenes online, God speaks in words too. Doesn't the Bible say that? You think God who created all things can't speak? He can do anything. He dictated books written by Moses. That's why they are so consistent. I don't think he speaks English, man. Because English is a man-made he's way beyond English, let's put it that way. English to God is like asking a human to speak like a baby. God speaks in much more profound ways than that. And honestly, when you're in what Jesse Lee Peterson likes to say as the fallen state, like most of us are, from being raised by imperfect parents and inheriting spiritual trauma through the family line and stuff like that. We end up becoming traumatized through life at a very early age. And so that's called the fallen state. I like to look at it like the fallen state, which I was in for many years, till about 3-4 years ago. When you're in that state, your thoughts are typically from the devil, man. So you shouldn't be listening to your thoughts, because you got to ask yourself, who created that thought? How do you know it's from God? How do you know it's from the devil? And if you really pay attention, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see that your thoughts are the devil trying to tempt you, and the devil trying to trick you and put doubt and worry into your life and fear for no reason. If you learn how to separate yourself from your thoughts and you realize that you are not your thoughts, you will start to know what peace is like in life. And you'll start to realize that God doesn't speak through words. He doesn't speak through a booming voice in the clouds. He speaks through these little revelations, almost like these like aha moments. Like if you have like an epiphany or something like that, and you're like, holy shit, I just realized something amazing, you know? That's how God speaks. Anna says, Weston, do you know anything about tinnitus? I've had it here and there, to be honest with you. And you know what? It's gotten a lot better on this diet. I used to have like my hearing would go out and it'd just go, you know, like that real high-pitched noise. I was getting that quite a bit, actually. You just reminded me of it, and it actually went away since I went on this diet. So pretty sure this diet will help that. Brandon Johnson says, Easy E Trump. Is that what that is? Oh, nice. Easy E Trump. I love it. Israel says, I thought the Bible was written by God. No, man. The Bible was not written by God. God does not have a printing press. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". That's right. That's the jam. John Trim says, what do you think about the Book of Revelations? That's an amazing book. That's the one I used to read in high school all the time when I was about 16, 17 years old. Before I went to bed, I started reading Revelations a lot. And it's a trip, man. It sounds like a DMT trip or a mushroom trip. I mean, seriously, come on. Read Revelations and tell me that's not someone on drugs talking about multi-headed dragons and with 7 horns and seven crowns on each 7 horn and just all this crazy shit. Like, come on, man. What is going on here? These guys were using some stuff. Bears fan, have you ever read any info on bioremediation? Never heard of it, man. What's that all about? Fat of the Land says, I feel a strong spiritual connection with nature. There's nothing better than being alone in the woods and meadows surrounded by wild animals. Absolutely. Chicken jar. Yeah, there's a few offshoots of major religions that were of Gnostic nature. The Gnostic Christians and the Sufi Muslims, namely, are all Gnostic peoples. Gnostic means knowing in Greek. Yeah, it's not evil, guys. It seems very, very benign and tame, and very like just I don't know how to describe it, but the Gnostic thing, it seems much more simple than Christianity in a way, than normal Christianity. I believe Gnosticism is basically Gnostic Christianity, because they all believe essentially, I believe, in the spirit of Christ, and his teachings were correct, you know? What's up, Patchy? Bears fan, I went into a well-known temple in Venice, Italy. People aren't allowed to take pics in there. There was a huge mural on the ceiling of Jesus with mushrooms in the background. Blew my mind. Yeah. No shit. You know, I'm going to go grab a book real quick. I'm going to ask you if it looks like this. I got a picture of that too in this book. I don't think this is the one you were talking about. This is another one. It says the plain Corot fresco showing the Amanita muscaria as the tree of good and evil in the Garden of Eden, circa 1291, at the plain Couralt Chapel at Mérisne, Indre district in France. This is from the book Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. This book was actually bought out and banned by the Catholic Church, guys. Just a little FYI and history on that. But here's another, that's a mural from 1291 showing the tree of good and evil in the Garden of Eden. And those are mushrooms right there, everybody. So I don't think they just painted those mushrooms for no reason. Something going on there. And like I said yesterday, if you go to YouTube and type in Christianity and mushrooms, there's like 1,000 videos. If you go to Amazon, guys, and type in Christianity and psychedelics or Christianity and mushrooms, there's like 100 books on it. Bears fan says, I knew all the theories, but I saw it in person. That's amazing, man. That sounds like an amazing experience. What's up, Gentle Cattle? Good to see you. OG Aesthetics. How would you go about setting up a raw diet for students? Raw dairy, illegal, what foods? Well, you can always get raw cheese. So raw dairy is not technically illegal, just raw milk. You can order raw cheese online. There's a lot of websites that sell it. You can get raw cheese salted at Whole Foods. They have a really big raw cheese selection. So you can supplement your milk and stuff with cheese. And eat some raw meat. You can obviously get raw meat anywhere you want. And raw eggs. And you can get raw oysters. You can eat raw fish. And you can eat raw honey. You can eat a big portion of the diet without milk. I'm actually going without milk right now, and I feel great. So I may eventually integrate it back in. We'll see, but it might be goat milk. But yeah, if you're a student, you can eat, like I said, raw meat, raw cheese, raw honey, raw eggs, raw fish, raw oysters. You're going to cover a lot of your stuff right there, especially with just the beef, eggs, and cheese. Patchy says, I found out something called homeoblock. It literally expands the jaw and face, and by doing so, it moves the teeth. Huh. It's been done on 70-year-olds, builds facial bone, and makes the airway larger. I'll have to look that up, man. Homeoblock. Bears fan, bioremediation is just natural ways to harness pollution in the environment. It's a cool topic. Certain minerals, plants, fungi to bind with pollution to clean farmland. Oh, yeah, cool. It's probably already going on as we speak, you know? Thoughts on mewing? I try to mew as much as I can. Just keep my tongue posture up the top. I try to do that as much as I can because I had that jaw injury. So my jaw, I got like a crossbite now. Like, you see how my jaw moves like that? It kind of goes like that. It doesn't, my jaw is messed up, man. So my teeth, my bite's not correct, and also it kind of affected my airways a little bit. So I'm constantly like messing with my throat and my jaw, and it sucks. But I try to keep a nice posture, put my tongue on the top of my mouth. I try to do that as much as I can. Audrey Online says, that's how I know you don't know the real God. I had prophetic dreams from God, and you think they were on drugs or something. Pharmakia, sorcery, dreams from God are real. I think you can achieve connections with God without mushrooms or whatever. Never said that. It's just some people, they can achieve it that way. But there's definitely no way that you don't know I don't know the real God. Like, you should try not to judge other people's relationships with God, because you're most likely 100% of the time incorrect. Because even if you think someone's worshiping a different God than you, they are most likely worshiping the real God. And that's the mind frame that the Native Americans had. Like, they didn't judge anybody else's relationship with God. You're basically acting like a modern day Christian right now, like, which is really annoying, man, because that's what everybody hates about Christians, is what you're doing right now. You're basically telling me that, like, my personal relationship with God that I don't like to talk about, that you're basically asking me questions about, right? You started asking me questions about it, so I'm answering you about it. And then once I give you my answers of what my relationship with God is, then you start attacking my relationship with God. It's really ignorant, man. And you should really, like, take a look at what you're saying right now, because it really holds no merit. And you're just basically regurgitating the same thing that modern day religion does, trying to act like you know the real God and nobody else knows the real God, and they're all going to hell and all this stuff. And I'm telling you, man, wherever you got that from, it's bullshit, dude. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Now, I'm not going to ban you. I'm not going to ban you, Audrey Online, because I will let you make a fool out of yourself first before I ban you, because you're not being really disrespectful or anything like that yet. But because you're not saying anything that I've never heard, like a brainwashed Christian say. You know what I mean? But you can make a fool out of yourself all you want on my channel. WT says, well, now my mouth is full of gold. No more maintenance for me. You got all gold teeth, man? Abraham, why do some people have a lisp? Good question. Probably some kind of, I don't know. What is the reason for that? Some kind of misdevelopment of the mouth or tongue. Maybe something neurological too. Probably something in the brain, similar to like a stutter. Timothy, have you ever dealt with a candida overgrowth in the gut? Oh, for sure. Yeah, my tongue. I had like thrush on my tongue for a while. Like, my tongue was like white in the morning and stuff like that. So I've dealt with pretty much everything, man. Any kind of like bacterial, fungal overgrowth and all that stuff. My toenails were like turning yellow at one point. I've been through a lot of different shit. Apache says, look into homeoblock. You have straight teeth, but it can definitely benefit you if you think your bite is off. It completely builds your face and makes it symmetrical. Interesting. Oh, my bite's off big time. But a lot of that's because my jaw actually broke and shattered. And then when they wired it up, it didn't heal correctly. So I think my bones didn't heal right. Fat of the land. Found some places in the UK doing raw goat dairy, including raw goat milk kefir. Good for you, man. You're lucky. Spectre Bond, do you drink celery juice every morning? No. I just drink it like, I'm trying the juices out just here and there as an experiment. But, I mean, to be honest with you guys, like, as far as like the nut formula and the juices and adding like cooked starches to my diet and stuff like that, I don't really need that stuff. It's just, I think I crave the potatoes every once in a while. The juices are cool to have. It's really refreshing in the morning. But I love raw meat and eggs and butter and stuff. That's really all I need, Nick Kresh, can you talk about how to improve eyesight with raw? Yeah, eat raw eyes, dude. Eat these eyes. I swear to God, my eyes are getting better. I think it seems like it's taken some of my floaters away. I still got some floaters going on, but eat eyeballs, man. I try to eat one of these like every day. Sparia says Allahu Akbar. Oh shit, we got a terrorist in here. We got a terrorist Muslim worshipping a fake god. Don't you know Christianity is the real religion? Damn it. What are you doing over there, you fake Muslim? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. It's ridiculous, guys. You guys realize that Muslims and Christians are all serving the same God, right? Yeah. As long as your religion isn't impeding on the personal and human rights of another human being, they're worshiping the same God. Now, modern day Muslims are probably underneath the same deceptions that modern day Christians are, which is I have the right God and you don't have the right God. You know what I mean? So probably the same thing happened to Islam that happened to Christianity. Like, it started out as like a spiritual, mystical experience with God, and then it turned into this like crazy religion. But ultimately, guys, I'm telling you, I know this for a fact, the roots of Islam and the roots of Christianity are all worshiping the same God. It's the same thing, man. P. Miller says, everyone finds God through different venues. Exactly. Yeah, cold slice has got a good point. Liver's a good one too because of vitamin A. Yep. Liver and eyeballs. Ajnus Online starts his comment with, Bible says. So you can pretty much assume that it's probably bullshit. So if you start out your comment with Bible says, I'm not even going to read it, dude. Ajnus Online says, yes, I am annoying. If you saw a person heading from a cliff, would you be annoying and trying to stop him? I don't know why you would think that I'm heading towards a cliff. I'm one of like the most chill, relaxed, like peaceful, healthy people that I personally know, and I'm at peace. I'm clearly at peace. Like, there's not an angry bone in my body. I don't attack other people for their religions. Like, I don't understand why you think I'm heading towards a cliff. I don't know what's going on with you, man. I think you're projecting. I think what's going on with you is you're heading towards a cliff, and you're projecting that out towards other people and making it seem like everybody else is heading towards a cliff, but it's actually you that's heading towards a cliff. So think about that one a little bit, But you're turning into, like, I understand you're trying to do the right thing and you're trying to have a relationship with God and stuff like that, but you're turning into an annoying Christian. that wants to debate the Bible and theology and use the Bible for everything, like a Bible beating Christian. It's like, it's really annoying, dude. And it's not the way that Jesus wanted us to do it, you know what I mean? Volkashire says, I wonder who the one dislike is. Probably a Christian. I ate a potato and talked about Christianity on my last stream, and I had like 5 dislikes. So I didn't know if it was from the potato or from just speaking the truth about religion, but it's like either way, people take the raw diet as a religion. So I broke 2 religious rules on my last stream. Big deal. I'm a rebel, man. I'm a natural rebel. I've never been one for rules or anything like that. I believe in right and wrong, but I don't believe in man-made rules. I believe in God's rules. Timothy, how did you treat your candida? I didn't actually treat it. This is before I knew about the diet and stuff, so it just kind of went away on its own a little bit. Honestly, it was something that just popped up and then it sort of went away. Abraham, were you breastfed? Yeah, I was breastfed. And my mom said I was definitely breastfed, yeah. Yeah, you can't click on people's profiles anymore. It's stupid because YouTube's gay. Yeah, that's the real got this, man. Got this and Luna pop in here and there. John Trium says, yeah, I don't know why people think that Allah and the Christian God aren't the same. It's human ego. It's a perfect example of human ego. I'm right and you're wrong, you know? Israel says, finally Weston is the only person that understands religion like me. Yeah, it took me a while, man. Like I just started, God took my fear away, basically. So I'm like fearless now. I'm scared of nothing. And one of the things that went away was my fear of questioning religion. That was a major fear instilled in me, in my framework, from my family, from my churches, and etc. You know, I was raised in the church. I was confirmed. I was an altar boy, etc. I went through all the rituals, man. And once all my fears went away from life, because that's what God wants, is He wants all of your fear taken away. I started seeing religion on a whole different level, man. I was like, holy crap. I always thought people that question religion were kind of like assholes, you know what I mean? Or blind or something like that. I never knew you could have a relationship with God outside of religion. I always thought that was the only way through God was through a Bible or through a church. And I'm telling you, it's freaking bullshit, man. It's such bullshit. That's actually like the opposite of the way to get to God. Like, you go to God through the inside, man. The kingdom of God is inside you. It's not in a church. Lofty says, actually, I do agree with you 100% when you said the roots of Christianity and Islam are the same. Yeah, it's the same dude. And same thing with the Native American religion, guys. They're all worshiping the same creator. They call it the Great Spirit. You know what I mean? Everybody recognizes, or most people recognize, there's a great spirit about the world, and that's what people call God. You know, it's just a spirit more complicated than your own. Black Picture says, Islam is forced on people. Why would the right religion need to be forced? Because it's been mishandled by human beings. Anytime you're talking about a religion, you're talking about basically a mystical experience that somebody had that's been transformed into like a business. You know what I mean? It all comes from like some dude or multiple people having like mystical experiences in caves talking to God. And then they take it and they write it down, and then it becomes this like business. And that's what we have today, is like the business of God. Yeah, Agenus Online is Wind Spirit for sure. What about dry eyes? I got the worst dry eyes. Agenus said that rubbing egg whites in your eyes would help heal eye problems, so that's the only thing I can think of, for sure. Maybe try the lubrication formula. Agenus Wonder Plant is a lubrication formula. I got a video on that. Lofty says the modern world is becoming corrupt as we progress forward. So everything is getting altered, and it comes down to everyone's personal connection with God in the end. Exactly, guys. Exactly. Imagine a world where there was a big fire that burned all the Bibles and all the churches burnt down. What would you have left? Everybody's personal connection with God. You would start from there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. OG Reinhardt says, people who force religion seem nutty. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit nutty there. General Cattle says, I was a Bible thumper once. Well, at least you can admit it, and at least you woke up, you know? How did you overcome your candida? I don't remember specifically what I was doing. I mean, I just started, I think, eating slightly healthier. And honestly, I think my body just overcame it naturally. Sometimes that happens, you know? Chicken Jar says, 2 dislikes. I mean, trigger level is at 2 now. Yeah, I had 5 dislikes on my last stream. Little do these guys know that I like when people dislike my streams. You know why? Because you know when you're getting dislikes that you're getting over the target, as they say. You're getting too close to the truth. And it also weeds out the gammas and the brainwashed people, you know? Because most people that hang around my streams, and like you guys, like my regular followers and, you know, friends on here, you guys have seen me basically try to break through almost every barrier that the world tries to put on you, you know what I mean? Whether it comes to raw meat, or religion, or education, or, you know, government institutions. Like, you guys know that I don't believe in any of that shit. So religion goes along with that now. So, what are you going to do, man? You know, you can hate me for it all you want. You can dislike my stream. It's not going to change the fact that you know, there's many, many, many people besides myself that feel the same way as I do. And it's the truth, you know? What else can I say? I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't think it was the truth. If I didn't know it was the truth. P. Miller says, maybe Audience Online is Nika, please. I remember that dude. That's funny. He was getting a little trolly. Israel says, yeah, Jesus was very peaceful in spreading Christianity, while people in our time are forcing it and are annoying. Yeah, isn't that weird? If you guys only knew, you know, if you've ever had an extremely powerful spiritual experience with God, you would know exactly what Jesus was talking about, and you would be like so humble about it and so quiet and just, you know, and you would feel like grateful that you were ever chosen to be a person that had a relationship with God like that, you know, because most people don't get that opportunity. And so don't squander it, man. Like, you know, don't squander your relationship with God right now by forcing it on other people and triggering other people and stuff like that. Just treasure it, man, you know, and hone it and work on it and harness it. Yes, I was breastfed, Ibrahim. 33 likes, Illuminati confirmed. Hey, what's up, Haleman? Trigger level 3 reached, gamma alert. Guys, we got a gamma attack. We have a gamma alert, sensing some gammas. John Trium says, who even comes to a stream just to dislike it? Yeah, I know. And who thinks that disliking a stream is gonna like do anything to my stream? You know what I mean? Like, I'm already shadow banned to hell. It's like disliking my stream isn't gonna push it further into YouTube hell. They've already made it so like you can't find it anywhere. So big deal, man. I'm blessed that like 40 people show up here. Black Picture says Christianity was never a thing. The word of God was followed by the Israelites. It was Israelite culture, and then Christianity and Catholics were made over time. Exactly, man. Exactly. It's just, that's exactly it, man. It's the same thing that the Native Americans are doing, or were doing. It's just, it was an individual relationship with God that each one of them had, and like they didn't talk about it, man. It was just something that they had, and then they forced it. Like you said, the Israelites were the same way, and it's funny you say that. In this book I'm reading about the Native Americans, it says that their religion is much like the old Israelites. So you guys got to look into the history of this stuff. Study indigenous tribes and their relationships with God before you start proselytizing a modern religion. Jonathan Pernice, is Augenis online the same as old Augenis archives? Yes. Gregory says, are God and nature the same? I see it as the same, yes. I mean, obviously there's material differences, because God isn't material. But I believe God created nature, and basically when you have like a connection with nature, you're basically connecting with God. Patchy says, lemons in eyes? No, definitely don't do that. Sand in eyes. Yeah, if you got chicken jars right, if you got dry eyes, you need to have more mucus, plenty of eggs, milk, fat, lubrication formula. Yeah, the beard's getting gnarly, huh? I see you've been messing with your beard too, Haleman. It's a good call. Especially if you're trying to attract the ladies. The beard is a very good call. Black Picture, Native Americans are one of the 12 tribes. Augenis online, I would say chill out on the Jesus stuff a little bit and try to connect with what God is, because Jesus was just a man. Jesus wasn't God, dude. So try to go with what God would want you to do, right? Instead of what you think Jesus wants you to do. Because let's face it, man, you never knew Jesus before you opened up a religious book. Try to develop your relationship with God outside of a religious man-made book. What's up, vandalism of veganism? LOL, so far I got 30 dislikes. You're doing something right, man, when you got them dislikes cracking. Abraham says, is this about raw meat or God? It's a good question. There's really no topic. I mean, I just make it like a ask me whatever you want type thing, I like to talk about anything, personally. It gets a little old just talking about raw meat all the time, but I'll talk about whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Ibrahim says, you are very lucky, thank your mother. Yeah. I have thanked her. She also made sure we didn't eat a lot of junk food growing up, and we always had like meat and stuff like that. Nero says Vox Day claims Jesus was a Chad who walked around with a whip. Beta male. Did you guys see Jesse Lee Peterson's latest Fallen State with Michael Schumer? That guy's a beta male. Jesus wasn't angry, dude. Jesus was not angry, Augenus Online. Dude, Augenus Online. Start watching Jesse Lee Peterson. He's gonna get you on the right track. Watch Jesse Lee Peterson. Watch his YouTube channel Bond, BOND, right? That's gonna give you a way better foundation for God than anything. I'm like probably over 1,000 hours ahead of you on this stuff. I've listened to over 1,000 of his radio shows and church services and stuff. I've got a lot more experience on this than you, so I just, you gotta develop your relationship with God a little bit more, and you'll kind of see that what you're doing is not what God wants us to do, you know? Cole Slice, have you made any of the raw meat sauces? No, I have not. I have to look into that, man. Nothing like eating straight butter. What does dry aged beef taste like? I don't know. A lot of people ask that. I don't know how to describe it, man. All I know is the energy I get off it is a lot better than just straight raw meat. It's because it's like pre-digested, so it comes a lot quicker. It digests easier. Yeah, I believe in reincarnation for sure. Fat Land says YouTube has to ban your channel as vegans might get offended by seeing humans eating their natural human diet. It's all about their feelings. Yeah, I know. They seem to leave me alone though. I thought they would have deleted my channel a long time ago, but I mean they monetized my channel. They're putting ads on it and shit. So I think they see me as a way for them to make money, you know, because I'm one of the, they look at me as like a carnivore channel kind of. So they're running like carnivore ads on my channel and shit like that, and I don't give a shit. I'll take their money, man. Call me a shill, but I've made a few $100 so far. Eat raw meat. West, does age matter to you when looking for a woman? What is the lowest or oldest you go for? Yeah, it is kind of a big deal. Honestly, like I'm not so concerned with lowest as long as it's like legal, honestly, because you know the younger women are the more fertile, and that's essentially what I'd be looking for is like a fertile woman, you know. The oldest, I typically don't go over 30, but I do make exceptions. Ibrahim, you're not supposed to chew raw meat too much. Yeah, I know. I have to chew this stuff because it's dry aged, unfortunately. But you're right. I don't normally chew it at all. Like this piece right here, this is like there's no dry age on it. I'll just chew it once. Like 5 times and then swallow it. Ibrahim says swallowing raw meat in chunks seems a bit too much for the digestive system. It seems that way, but it works, man. I've been chewing chunks of meat forever. Chewing does give you a bigger, stronger jaw, for sure. My dog never chews anything exactly, but they also have 50 times stronger stomach acid. Cole Slice has a good point, like always. If your stomach is too base, it could be problematic. Some people need to start with ground meat and work up to chunks. Yeah, that's a good point, man. There's a lot of variables here, man. You know what I mean? That's why I don't really, I haven't started like charging or offering consultation services yet for people, even though I know that I could. There's certain things that I'm not quite sure about, like Cole Slice just said there, you know what I mean? Like, I never knew that. If your stomach is too base, it could be problematic, eating whole chunks. Like, you got to know that type of stuff, you know what I mean? I wouldn't eat the eyes whole, man. I almost choked on an eyeball one time doing that. Cut a hole in the eyeball with a boning knife or a razor blade, and then suck the fluid out, and then swallow it. I definitely wouldn't try to swallow an eyeball, man. It's like swallowing a marble. It's not good. John Trimp says, Apache says nutrition and posture only. Yeah. Childhood nutrition and prenatal nutrition will give you a wide jaw for sure. Even though it seems like my jaw got a little bit better when I got on the raw primal diet, but that who knows what that is. Kai Sala says Jesus was never angered. Nowhere in the Bible says that. Yeah, anger is an evil spirit. Ibrahim says, I wonder, are human body proportions altered? Are humans supposed to have shorter legs or longer? I think we're supposed to be shorter. I think Weston Price talked about how humans were becoming more stretched out. If you look at like primitive people, they're like short and stocky. So I don't think being tall is necessarily a positive adaptation, especially if you're like tall and lanky. Yeah, we're definitely altered. Andreas, I really like these live streams. Feels like a non-cringe mukbang. It gets lonely being the only raw carnivore in your close social circle. I know what you mean, man. Non-cringe mukbang. It's like the raw meat club. You know what I mean? Imagine how cool this would be, guys, if we could do this in an actual building together. Like if every day or once a week we could meet up and eat, and we all just ate raw meat together. Imagine what that would turn into. You know what I'm saying? That would just be beautiful, wouldn't it? Black Picture, why does Dr. Mike Mew say hard foods develop your jaw? He denies nutrition and plus organ meat raw as soft as he is shill. You know what, man? I think food does develop your jaw, because I'm going to show you guys my Instagram again to see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to show you my jaw. My jaw, I mean, tell me if you notice this too. Tell me if I'm just seeing things. But this is me 1 month carnivore. So this is basically me on the standard diet for the most part. I'm only like a 1 month on meat. This is me in the middle, and this is me 18 months primal. And granted, my mouth is a little bit more closed in this picture, but look at my jaw here, right? And then look at my jaw here. Is that just my imagination? Is it just because I put on more weight? Doesn't it seem a little bit more square? And I notice when I lift weights too, my jaw becomes more square. So I don't know if it's just prenatal nutrition and stuff like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's something that I noticed. Eat raw meat ads for Beyond Meat. Yeah, I'm being exposed lately, guys. I'm exposed. I'm a shill. I'm a potato shill. I'm a raw meat shill. Volkashir says, did you know that veganism is now considered as a religious organization in the UK? Really? That's the dumbest thing ever. Go ahead and let them be their stupid religion, I guess. Jar says Augenus was against dry aging meat because the bacteria levels are lowered. Excuse me. It's fucking Corona, man. Yeah, I only dry age it because I have to, man. Because I get like 80 pounds of meat at a time. I think chewing just defines your jaw. I think that's part of it. Whole slice for most women past 30 who don't have a husband. There's a reason. I tend to agree. Is says Mark 3:5, and he looked around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. I would tend to think that that word was probably mistranslated. Corey says, why does ground beef have an off taste after being in the fridge for a week? Audrey said it was healthier if it was older. Ground beef, I think, tends to get more oxidized. You know what I mean? Because you gotta think when they ground that stuff up, it's becoming oxidized from that very moment that it's being chopped up. Ideally, you want big chunks of food, you know, so there's less oxygen and air and things in there to degrade the nutrients. That's why I got all of my my cuts into primal cuts. So I had all my ribeyes were in just giant rib cuts and stuff like that. So when I aged it, when I cut through the middle of it when I was ready to eat it, none of that stuff would be oxidized. But yeah, I stopped eating ground beef after like my first couple months on raw. It just didn't really trigger with me. Ibrahim says, my fantasy is dating an older woman. Do you got mommy issues, Ibrahim? Possibly. They have sexy bodies. That's funny, man. You might have some mommy issues, bro. You guys are funny. Gerardo says, so can I really use frozen meat to make high meat? Yes. Frozen works. Just make sure you thaw it out. Have you gotten recent blood work, testosterone? No, I have not, but I have done hemoglobin levels and pulse and blood pressure, and it's all very good. The Bible talks about God and Jesus being angry. Yeah, I don't really believe that was true, though. I mean, the Bible, A, was not written by God. B, it was mistranslated a bunch of times. So you gotta just, when there's that much room for error, you know what I mean? There's like a 30% room for error in the Bible, basically. You can't really take that stuff, as they say, for the gospel, because it's probably incorrect. Michael Budinger, hey, nice beard. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's my raw meat beard. Volkashire, so we having lunch together? Cool. Yeah, I wish you guys were closer, man. We could all have some lunch. Maybe someday. Coal slice. Chewing tough meat will build your masseter muscles, making your jaw look bigger. But as far as bone development goes, nutrition during your formative years and sometimes beyond improves your facial bone. Interesting. You know what's interesting about that jaw development thing is before I knew anything about Weston Price or nutrition or vitamins or anything, when I was in high school, I remember looking at my jaw and just thinking that it wasn't developed correctly. I don't know if you guys have ever had those issues. I've never really had any issues with my body. I've always been very happy with my body and my development and stuff, but I always knew that there was something with my jaw. Because I saw other people with like wider, bigger jaws and stuff, and I don't know if that was it, but I just always remember looking at my jaw and going, kind of like, putting it into different shapes and going, that's the way it should look, but it doesn't look that way. Like, I always had an intuition that my jaw wasn't properly developed. Rebecca says we got to do some sort of U.S. meetup. The Sverige ones look so cool, but I'm obviously not going to fly to Europe for it. Yeah, I might do something like that. Yeah, maybe we might actually get a pretty big turnout. So I already know like a couple people that are willing to do it. So I think if I just maybe I have a pretty good location right here in the middle of the country. You know what I mean? It would be like the shortest place for most people to fly to. So I will consider that, doing something like that, you know? Maybe, I don't know if I'd want to meet up at my house per se. I don't know if I'd want everybody knowing like where I live personally, but we could maybe do it at like some kind of like, we could meet up at a park. We could meet up at like a hotel conference room and then go to a park. You know, there's a couple different ways we could go about it. We could all go camping, you know. P. Miller says your face was thinner, no doubt, for sure. West gay for pay exposed. Yeah, you guys busted me, man. That was my income back then. I'm a changed man. Abraham says I don't have mommy issues, lol. That's what everybody says that has mommy issues, but I'll take your word for it. Patchy says, yeah, look at some women who go on testosterone, their jaw changes. That's a good point. I think your jaw can change. Because whenever I get into lifting weights real heavily, my jaw changes. I don't know if that's because I'm straining when I'm lifting, you know, and it's like tightening up my jaw muscles or whatever the hell that's doing. But my jaw definitely, like in that third picture, I was lifting weights, you know, something going on there. Haleman says, so you don't believe Jesus will save everyone by grace? I don't know exactly what that means, to be honest with you, man. Like, I'm a very logical, methodical, like technical thinker. And some of those sayings in the Bible are like really confusing. I have like a very, very simple relationship with God. And no disrespect on Jesus or his teachings or anything like that. But when we start going into the theology of Jesus and stuff like that, it gets like really confusing, man. I just think our relationship with God should be on an individual level. And I'm not even sure what the word grace even means. I've never used that word in my everyday life. But to answer your question of my interpretation of what I think you're trying to say, I do believe Jesus is a higher form of elevated consciousness that people can achieve on planet Earth. It's like enlightenment. And when you achieve enlightenment, then you can achieve, then you're walking in the will of God, and you can achieve basically perfect peace. And I think that's what Jesus wanted. And so then, you know, you have to quit sinning and stuff like that. But I think once you get through that, then, yeah, basically your soul is, I guess, is saved, you could say. Flintstone gummies. That's what I'm going to change my channel to. The Natural Human Diet plus Flintstone gummies. P. Miller, it's kind of insane how many men nowadays, excuse me, fucking corona, man, feel self-conscious about growing a beard. Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it? I know what you mean. When I first started growing mine out too, it was like, you know, shit, I got a beard. What am I going to do? But now that I have it, it gives you like a little bit of confidence for sure. Because after a while, you're just like, I don't give a shit anymore what people think. Then you just start taking your shirt off and walking around with your shirt off. And it's like, nobody can stop you once you get that beard going. Now I'm growing my hair out. It's like, who cares, man? Cole Slice, do you have your wisdom teeth? Yes, I do. But only because I had 4 of my adult teeth removed when I had braces put in, which made my wisdom teeth have room to drop down, which undoubtedly changed the shape of my face for sure. I would never recommend doing that. Cyber Watcher, does being left-handed have anything to do with the way you look at the world, using critical thinking, reason, and logic to discover the world? Maybe. I've seen some evidence that a lot of left-handed people are more artistic and less logical thinking. Maybe something to that. Cold Slice. Women who likes a man clean shaven is a red flag in my opinion. I like that. Yeah. Makes sense. Natural human diet meetup. Nice. Oh yeah. I think we're probably going to have to do that someday here. I think. I mean, why not? You know, even if it's just a handful of people, man, you know, I'm in Omaha. So if we can find there's a lot of really beautiful places to like camp out and like nature centers and stuff like that we could do it in. You know, plenty of hotels for people to stay in and stuff like that. Yeah, milk baths are good, man. Excuse me. Raw meat camping trip. Yeah, that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? There's a place around here, right on the Platte River, where you can camp out in teepees. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? We all rented out a bunch of teepees. They're only like $20. It's all on Indian land too. It's pretty cool. Abraham says, so you Kathy Ornstein. Who's Kathy Ornstein? Yeah, milk baths are awesome, man. So is washing your hair with an egg. Ibrahim says, we had that with Augenus eating raw meat together in LA. That's awesome, man. Well, if I ever have one up here, you're definitely invited, dude. Yeah, John Trium, just pour like a half gallon of milk, of raw milk inside your bath. That's all you need. That's all I used. Eat raw meat says primal camping site. Millions of eggshells, empty milk bottles, and gnawed bones on the ground. Exactly. And piles of dead vegans. Sieb says anyone that is enlightened would not brandish it. Absolutely. And anyone that is enlightened wouldn't push it on other people. Deuteronomy 23:1, no one whose testicles are crushed or whose male organ is cut off shall enter the assembly of the Lord. Is that a real saying? No way, dude. I'm gonna look that up. Deuteronomy 23:1. You're probably trolling. That is a saying, man. Holy shit. A man with crushed or severed genitals may not enter the assembly of the Lord. Wow. That is amazing. Thanks for dropping that one. That's a good one. See, that's why I like the Bible. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's something you shouldn't use as a reference here and there, but you shouldn't go around like proselytizing it and use it as a basis for forming some intuitive thought. Bearspan Augenus believed that wisdom teeth produce stem cells. Interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if that helped me out then, keeping those. General Cattle says if Bible is true, it doesn't make sense. The elites are going through with their agenda while knowing that they will be defeated, fail, as it is written in the Bible. That's a good point. Haleman says the image of the beast will also be most likely one of those digital ID verifications. It will prevent you from buying, selling, or doing anything. I'm not saying you're not right about this, Haleman, but people have been saying this shit for well over like 30 years. Well, obviously like 2,000 years, but people have been saying this shit since the 90s, dude. Seriously. Like, when I was in the 90s, when I was a kid, they were saying this stuff about barcodes and stuff like that. So it's like, I wouldn't get too freaked out about this stuff, because even though it may be true, it's something that's been in the works forever, and there's probably nothing you can do to stop it, you know? It's interesting, though. You know, just don't get too worried about it. First rule of Primal Club, don't eat other members. Exactly. Excuse me. Which Ibrahim is this? What? WT says, the moon is fake. Why are asteroid craters perfectly round? I've thought about that too. That's a good question. Don't the asteroids impact on an angle? Yeah, maybe, but maybe the way that gravity affects the dust affects the crater shape. I'm open to that. Haleman says, I trust Christianity because I know that there is a kingdom up there, and Satan and his angels have done everything humanly possible to cover it up. Cover our sky with an artificial dome. Yeah, you're onto the truth, man. Just, I would suggest looking into the original teachings of Christianity and not the religious form of it. Like, whoever said that earlier, Christianity wasn't even really a thing until people started inventing the religion. It's really just about your relationship with God, you know, and understanding that Satan does have a lot of influence over our planet. Abraham says we should have potluck. Yeah, that'd be a great time, man. I'm open to it. I'll see about maybe setting something up. Maybe this fall or something like that. Time for some brains. Brains. Have you ever eaten rabbit? No, I have not. You were in the 90s? Oh yeah, I was in the 90s. I was in the 80s, man. What's your opinion on storing eggs? Yeah, room temp for sure. Just put them on the counter. I've eaten eggs for over a month old on the counter, and they're fine. Rebecca says there's nothing we can do to stop the agenda. I hope there's at least a chance. Yeah, it depends on what you're talking about, but certain things you can't really stop, you know? Yeah, Haleman, you just gotta move to the country, man. You gotta get on your own, get out in the country, you know, get away from the city. You'll start feeling better about stuff like whatever's going on, you know, because once you become more independent, you stop worrying about all of the government control. Channel Cattle says the Bible tells us the mark of the beast, Antichrist, is inevitable. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean by like you can't stop it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. This has all been basically planned out by God, you know, and it's just a matter of ultimately like preparing yourself for a major war of good and evil. I mean, Make yourself strong. Make your family strong. Prepare yourself for when mainstream society starts to shut down. You know, by eating raw meats, sustaining your own food, etc. Just go from there. That way you feel better about it. What do eyeballs taste like and how do they make you feel? I mean, they don't really make me feel a certain way. I think they just make your eyesight better. But I like to just cut a little. They don't really taste like anything, man. Really nothing. Which is what most food should taste like. It should taste like kind of nothing. Especially if it's healthy. But I like to cut a little slit in the side. And then suck the juices out. The black juices, which is really weird. It's black on the inside. If you guys never... Look, that squirted out. See how it's all flattened. Nero says, in Sweden, it's business as usual. Feels good to live here. No lockdown at all through this whole pandemic. I've heard that. I forgot you live there. I've heard that about Sweden, man. I also heard that in Sweden, like 50% of the households are one person or under. John Trim says, my family won't listen. I think I'm just going to run away to a mountain or somewhere near a river. You got to do what you got to do, man. Can't save everybody. That's a good little dinner. It's always nice finishing it off with some brains and eyes. Nick says, the only raw butter I can get is previously frozen. Should I still eat it? Yeah, you're good. I freeze butter. I don't think freezing butter does really anything to it, man. You're probably better off eating frozen butter made in the summer months than eating fresh butter made in the winter months. Because in the summer months you have so much better soil and grass to make the butter. Coleslaw says, fear porn is toxic no matter the source. Yeah, man. That's true, man. Yeah, maybe anybody that's getting too into the media and about the corona thing, just kind of stop watching the news so much, you know? I don't watch the news at all, man. I think it's all bullshit. I don't believe any of it. You know, I'll believe the world's going to end when I start to see it with my eyes, you know? WWE fan says, where do you get the raw organs, eyeballs, brain? I have a live meat market. Do a search in your area for a live meat market. I'm lucky enough that some super based farmer started one in here. And you just go pick your animal out. He takes it from the pen, chops the head off, cuts it into slabs, throws it in a bag, and you take it home, man. It's awesome. John Chims, I think the best finisher is raw butter and milk for sure. Rebecca says, I don't know, it kind of feels like to me like this Christianity and Revelations and this belief is meant to make people not fight back because they expect that God is going to come save them. Well, the thing is, Rebecca, is we're not in a battle of flesh and blood. We're in a spiritual battle. So we're not supposed to fight back with like weapons and like, you know, punching people and stuff. Like, this is like a spiritual battle. And the way that you fight the spiritual battle is it's a little bit more strategic and cunning. And so you just basically, the way you fight the spiritual battle is by fighting the spirit. And the spirit being sold to us right now is the spirit of fear. And so the way you fight that is by being fearless. And so that's why I try to fight the spiritual battle by conveying a spirit of fearlessness towards anything and everything. And that's how you do it, man, is you just become fearless and ready for anything. You know, I'm ready for whatever, man. You know, I'm ready for a physical war. I'm ready for an actual war. But until then, I'm just going to fight the spiritual battle. And I'm not going to go out and like, you know, attack people or anything like that. Because when you start getting too into the media and stuff like that, then you start failing for the physical battle illusion, and you start creating people like terrorists and like Ted Kaczynski, like bombing technology companies and shit like that. That's not the way that God wants us to fight this war. You know what I mean? And so I just think the way that we fight it is it's a lot more strategic. You know what I mean? It's just by basically staying strong in your belief in God and trusting that everything will come out good in the end. And I can see how that maybe come off like naive to some people, but I don't know what else we can do. You know what I'm saying? There's really not a whole lot else I think we're supposed to be doing. P. Miller says, I think the way the game works is they get you to lead yourself to hell. You choose to watch porn all the time. You make the choice to stuff your face with chips. They don't make you do anything. Yeah, exactly. Right. They just walk you to hell. For sure. Do not remove your wisdom tooth. That sounds legit. WWE lovers. Yeah, I remember that. I'm not going to show my feet again, but I remember that. I do definitely remember you, for sure. Yeah, Miller's Farm can ship you organ meats, for sure. P. Miller, Dennis said it was imperative I got my wisdom teeth out. It's been 1.5 years since I last saw him. Teeth are fine. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Don't get your wisdom teeth out, your jaw will retract. Yep. I'm ready for a war. FBI van rolls up. No shit. Thoughts on meditation? Try the silent prayer. I like the silent prayer by Jesse Peterson. I'll send you a link to it. This works for me pretty good. It's more like a prayer than meditation. I think that's the way we're supposed to do it. But I think any time that you disconnect from your thoughts and you start to just focus in on the silence and the quietness, that's when God starts to contact you. Rebecca says, I feel like there's a chance that enough people wake up, or at least enough to stop it. That's very optimistic. What I foresee happening is, I think in the end, you're right, like good will always prevail, obviously. That's the whole objective. But I think what's going to happen is that there's going to be some kind of like giant war that happens, and all of the people that are on the side of good or on the side of God will have to step up, you know? Because right now their numbers are like deflated. It seems like there's much less of us than there really is, because we're all disconnected. Because the media wants to disconnect the people that are good, so we don't like form an army and like become more powerful. Right now, evil is like gaining power in the world, but there's a lot more people that support good than bad. Trust me. And when shit hits the fan, you'll see how that shows up. You know what I mean? Yeah, we are at about 2 hours, guys. This is about normally when I cut the streams off. This has been another great stream. I'd like to keep going, but I think once I go to like 2.5, 3 hours, it kind of scares people off from watching it. So thanks for all checking in, and keep eating raw meat. God bless.